than 1,500 architects and engineers and 12,000 others, including many scientists, have signed the petition calling for a scientific investigation of the destruction of the Twin Towers and World Trade Center Building 7. The report, issued by the National Institute of Standards and Technology, referred to as NIST, was not valid science.
They're talking about a single columnar collapse or failure that resulted in a total collapse of the building.
Building number 7 descended in free fall for the first 100 feet, which means that there was absolutely no resistance to the descent whatsoever.
So all of the columns really needed to be severed at the same time.
The symmetry is the smoking gun.
NIST has admitted it went into free fall for 8 stories.
You don't need to be an engineer or an architect to see what happened to those buildings.
Dus dit is controlled demolition. Zeker weten. Zeker weten.
What I saw, it was a classic implosion. The center of the core, the penthouse area, starts to move first, and then the building follows along with it.
NIST excluded the document from FEMA in Appendix C that documented the evidence of melting steel.
NIST concedes that they found no evidence for explosives. So then we asked them, well, did you look? And they said, no, we did not look for explosives or residues of explosives.
Now I know for some people it might be hard to believe that the world is not a safe place. For some people it might be hard to believe that we can't trust our government. That might be a scary thought. It might be a thought that you wish wasn't reality. But the truth is, that is the facts. You can deny it all you want. You can tell yourself all you want that we live in a safe world, that we can trust our government, that they will protect us. You can repeat those things to yourself in your head all you want. But it's not going to change the truth. The truth, the sad truth, the scary truth, the bad truth that no one wants to admit is that we do not live in a safe world. We are not ruled by good people. We as people of society are not safe, ruled under them. Those are the facts, and eventually you're just gonna have to come round and face the truth. Now there have been many past events, if we look back in history, where the people in power, the people that we put in power to protect us, where they have done the worst kind of things to the people of society. It's happened over and over and over and over again. And unless everyone starts to wake up and recognise that problem, then history is doomed to repeat itself. It will happen again. As I said, the first step in putting an end to it permanently is to stop thinking it's some kind of wild conspiracy theory and to recognise it as legitimate fact that we are ruled by people, bad people in suits with bad agendas. We are ruled by power-hungry psychos. But on today's Nutty Education, we are going to look back at a more recent event in history, one that happened in our lifetimes, one that happened, not even 2 decades ago from when this video is filmed, and that event is 9/11. Now let me just put it out there, 9/11 without a single doubt was done by the people in charge, by the presidents, by the government, by the people who are meant to protect the people of society. They are responsible for the events of 9/11. Maybe not directly, maybe they didn't directly get in the plane and fly it, but indirectly, however you want to call it, they are responsible for it, without a doubt. And unfortunately, over time, there have been many just plain stupid and dumb conspiracy theories, such as the planes being holograms, stuff like that, that have ruined and tarnished the actual credibility of the truth of what happened. All these stupid theories, they're basically protecting the ones responsible and covering their tracks, because now everyone looks at these dumb conspiracy theories and thinks, well, anyone who questions the official story is just some wild conspiracy theorist, and then we go and believe the official story. So don't listen to dumb conspiracy theories. On today, on this Nutty Education, we're going to use two things. We're going to use logic and we're going to use actual evidence. And with logic and with evidence, we will come to a conclusion as to what actually went down. Well, not what actually went down, who's responsible for what went down. Logic and evidence. And here it goes. So the first piece of logic that we're going to use is, let's look at the official story. According to the official story, there were planes that were hijacked by terrorists, and those terrorists flew the planes into the building. Now, just using logic alone, let's look at the plane. It was a normal class plane. Normal passengers, just ordinary regular people getting on their flight, regular class, regular plane. Now, how the fuck do terrorist hijackers get on a plane like that? Think of airport security. When you go into airports, think of all the checks they do, patting you down, metal detectors, whatever. I'm sure back then it wasn't as advanced as it is now, but still, that's not an excuse. Even back then, it wasn't like they just said, oh, show us your ticket, yeah, that's fine, get on the plane. That there still was security. And what kind of security would not be able to spot a fucking terrorist hijacker, like someone like that? What security, what dumb security is working at the airport? Obviously, just by using logic, they must have been let on by someone. They must have had a pass to go on, not an actual physical pass that you scan. I mean, like the green light, a pass. Someone must have let them on. Maybe people at the airport, they could have had prior knowledge that the actual terrorists, maybe they were posing as someone else who the people responsible told the airport staff that, yeah, allow these people on. It could have been anything, but the point is, surely airport security would have been able to tell something's up and would have been able to stop these people from getting on the plane. I know they don't just walk on the plane with all these explosives like a cartoon, but still, like they literally just allowed people to get on the plane who, I'm not sure if they had guns and they pointed it at the passengers. I'm not sure how they took control of the plane, but whatever the case, think of the people on the plane. They outnumber these terrorists. I don't know the exact numbers, but let's say there's like 50 people on the flight and like a few terrorists. Those 50 people can outnumber those few terrorists. So judging by that, I'm assuming terrorists had some kind of weapon. As I said, it could have been a gun, could have been something else. They had something to maintain control of the situation and scare the other passengers. And that just further fuels the fact that how were they allowed on the plane? How did security just allow them on? It don't make sense. But that's logic number one. Logic number two is, how the fuck were these planes even allowed to get that close to the Twin Towers? How were they even allowed to fly in that zone, to fly that low, to fly in that area? You know the government, do you know airport security? Do you know like how much they have everyone on lock? Do you know how much they have control of people? They literally, they monitor the skies like some kind of crazy ex-girlfriend. They monitor everything. The people at airports, they have radios and radars and scanners that monitor the planes. They can tell the altitude, they can tell the direction, they can tell everything. The government as well, separate to airport people, the government, they monitor everyone like crazy. We are literally monitored so much, and mysteriously these planes were just allowed to fly and get that close to the building. Nobody intercepted, nothing. They were just allowed. I've seen documentaries before, yeah, where they reenact what happened, and it shows the people at the airport trying to communicate to the plane and saying like, oh, what are you doing? What's going on? Respond. Now, if that was the case, why did no one send like fighter jets or whatever they are to intercept that flight?
34 minutes into the flight, controllers notice something odd.
What are you guys doing?
Flight 77 is veering off course.
American 77, center. American 77, radio check.
2 minutes later, their concern turns to alarm.
77, radio check.
Flight 77 has vanished from their radar.
Center calling American 77, American 77.
Their concern grows with each second of silence.
Center.
Then, just after 9 a.m., a call comes in from American Airlines that's almost impossible for controllers to digest.
Why did no one do anything? Why did they just like wait until they hear the news that there's been a plane crash? It's obvious. It don't make sense. Just imagine if a plane tried to fly to like Buckingham Palace or the White House or somewhere where these government people are. They would be intercepted just like that. They would send fucking fighter jets to blow them out of the sky. They would not have that shit. But that's logic number 2. Logic number 3 is, why did the entire buildings collapse? Why did the whole building fall down? That alone doesn't make sense. If a plane hits that building, especially where it hit, it didn't hit it like at the bottom where the whole thing comes down. So there's all of this section left that nothing should happen, and yet the entire thing just collapsed. It shouldn't collapse. And that also leads me in to logic number 4, which is how they collapsed. Because, as I said, the plane hits around here. There's all of that rest of the building to go. And somehow, this whole building, the way it collapsed, it collapsed at free fall. And not only did it collapse at free fall, it collapsed like within each other, like it imploded, fell into each other. So why did it collapse, and then how it collapsed, the way it collapsed, how it fell into each other. When is another scenario that a building collapses into itself? Exactly mirror image of how the Twin Towers did. A controlled demolition. When you have a controlled demolition, when you have explosives, and when that happens, when the explosives blow up, the buildings, they fall in in on itself. Exactly like how the Twin Towers fell. How it collapsed is fishy, and then why it collapsed in the first place is also fishy. And that leads me perfectly into our first bit of actual evidence. Now, you see what I just said about when you have a controlled demolition and explosives, the explosives blow up and they cause a building to fall in on itself. Take what I just said there, and now listen to this.
What happened?
We was in an explosion. We was in the lobby and the third explosion, the whole lobby collapsed on us.
What was it like? What was it like?
Horrible.
It's like hell. You don't want to know.
The whole building just collapsed on us inside the lobby.
Was that a secondary explosion?
Yes, it was.
That was the planet probably?
Yeah, definitely secondary explosion. But we was inside waiting to go upstairs, and on the way upstairs, the whole fucking plane blew, and it just collapsed on everybody inside the lobby.
Similar to the first tower coming down, secondary?
I don't know about the first one, but I know the second one was terrible. Then there was a third one too after that one.
Third explosion after that?
That's right. Everybody was inside the building, waiting to go upstairs, and they just let loose. Everything just let loose inside the building.
So what you told me is that there was a plane or whatever hit the building, then a secondary explosion.
It was like 3 explosions after that. We came in after the fire. We came when the fire was going on already. We was in the staging area inside the building, waiting to go upstairs. Then they exploded. The whole lobby collapsed on the lobby inside.
People don't understand. There may be more. Any one of these fucking buildings can blow up.
Did you hear that? Did you actually hear that? That those were actual people present when it happened. Those were actual firefighters that went inside the building, and they said they heard explosions. And it's not just them. There are, if you go and search up yourself, if you go and do your own research, you will find there's been loads of people who were present there who have all spoken out about hearing explosives.
We made it outside. We made it about a block.
We made it at least 2 blocks, and we started running. Floor by floor, it started popping out.
It was if they had detonated.
Yeah,
They
detonated.
were planned to take down a building. Boom, 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 boom.
All the way down. I was watching it and running.
It was if they had detonated. They were planned to take down a building. Boom, 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 boom.
Firefighters combined with other witnesses, just ordinary people, also saying they heard explosions, combined with the fact it looks like a controlled demolition, combine all that together, and now you start to get a better picture. I mean, we literally have actual people that were present there saying they heard explosions.
Was that a secondary explosion?
Yes, it was. The whole fucking plane blew. Then there was a third one too after that one. It was like 3 explosions after that.
People don't understand. There may be more. Any one of these fucking buildings can blow up.
What more evidence do you want? That alone, combined with just visually looking at how it fell, it should tell you that explosives were involved. And if explosives were involved, like witnesses say, then clearly it must have been pre-planned. It must have been, people must have had prior knowledge to put explosives there. And then combine that with how the airport security just mysteriously allowed these people to get on the plane. Just combine it all together and you get a picture. But there is indeed one more bit of major evidence, and that is, this is actually the biggest giveaway. This is the biggest giveaway, even more, well, arguably even more than the actual witnesses saying they heard explosives. And that is the suspicious way that the government and the media acted after the event. If you look at how they were all acting after it happened, you see dead giveaways that do not listen to this official story. There's more to it, and there's more they're not telling us. And what do I mean by that? I mean, have you heard of the passport story? Have you heard of how they blamed foreign terrorists. Do you know how they got to that conclusion? Because they found passports intact at the scene. That is how they knew who to blame, and they knew who was responsible. Are you actually shitting my ass? What kind of a stupid idiot do you have to be to believe, with all of that, with all that fire and explosion and plane crash, are you telling me that paper survived? And not just any paper, passports, the exact coincidence thing that shows their face, their name, their date of birth, their whole identification. Who actually believes that? And that is literally what the government are trying to tell us. They're actually trying to say that. All the presidents and the higher ups, they are actually genuinely, legitimately trying to convince you that these paper passports, they survived, and that's how we know to blame them. You have got to be the biggest fool on earth to believe that shit. But that's all who to blame. That's all who's responsible. The higher ups and the government, without a doubt, they're to blame. But now we have to look at why. Why would they do this? What do they gain from doing this? Because a lot of people are going to ask, what are the government going to gain from this? Why would they commit such a horrible act? For what reason? There has to be a big reason to do something like this. And trust me, there is. And now we're going to get into why they would do something like this. Now, to make it all simple, I've come up with two big main reasons why the government will do this, and then a few sub reasons / side effects as to why they'll do this. But the two main reasons. First main reason is they're gonna use this terrorist attack as an excuse to invade other countries. And why would they invade other countries? You know what America's like. They want oil, they invade countries for oil. They use 9/11 as one big excuse to commit endless crimes. They invade this country, invade that country, and it's always like foreign Muslim type countries. And why is that? Because the magical passports that were found were Muslim people, so now they have an excuse to go and invade those guys. That's the reason right there. It is one huge excuse to invade countless countries and to commit countless crimes. They'll always get away with it by using the 9/11 excuse. That's the main reason, number one. Second main reason is one big distraction. Now, distraction from what, you ask? Well, listen to this. Around the exact time, coincidentally, that this whole 9/11 happened, the Pentagon, they lost, actually soak this in, they lost $3 trillion. 3 trillion, not 3 million, not 3 billion, 3 motherfucking cock-sucking trillion dollars. How the fuck do you magically lose $3 trillion? And not just anyone. It's not like your grandma had the money and just forgot where she put it. This is the government we're talking about. This is the people who are control freaks, that have everyone on lock, that have mass control, who have the best security, the best technology. This is the government we're on about. And you think they just lose $3 trillion? Do you understand how big 3 trillion is? You must know how big a billion is. You must know how rich billionaires are. So think of a trillion. Just imagine that number, 3 trillion. And this was back then. This inflation has happened. So 3 trillion today, imagine how much money we're talking. They lost $3 trillion. And if that was genuine, if they somehow miraculously, genuinely lost $3 trillion, do you think they would just give up the search? They would be investigating until the end of time. $3 trillion. They will be investigating day and night, 24/7, never stop searching for that $3 trillion. And they're not. They just say, oh, we lost it. We lost 3 trillion. But now, let's get into the sub-reasons. The kind of not as important reasons, the more of like side effects of this happening, but still very valid reasons. And there's three that I've come up with. The first one is, out of all places that these terrorists could have attacked, they attack a trade center. Think about how strategic that is. Terrorists, why do they commit terrorist attacks? To cause terror, to cause fear, to scare people. That's why they do what they do. Now, they could achieve that by attacking anywhere. They could attack actual people, members of the public. They could blow up people's homes. But instead, out of all places, it's a trade center that gets attacked. Think about what a trade center is. A trade center where people trade stocks, where it's all about the stock market. The stock market goes up and down depending on what's going on in the world, depending on news, depending on the media. That all affects the stock of different companies. With a trade center being the victim of a terrorist attack, just think what madness that will do to the stocks that go up and down. And imagine the people that had prior knowledge to this attack. Just think of all the money they could make with those fluctuating stocks, with having prior knowledge to something like this. That's another sub-reason in addition to the 2 big main reasons. But then the other 2 sub-reasons, they both involve the masses, the public, the actual people of society. Those people were affected in 2 ways. The first way was panic and fear. 9/11, without a doubt, caused a lot of panic and fear. And what do people do when there is a lot of panic and a lot of fear? They demand security. They demand protection. They're scared that it's going to happen again. They fear for their own safety, so they demand as much protection as possible. And who do they go to for protection? The government. The government, a good reason why they'll do something like this is to cause panic and to make the people go to them and demand more protection and more laws, and ultimately give them more power. And then the second reason how the people are affected, which is actually the third sub-reason, is look at how all the people, look at who they were blaming. Nobody suspected a terrorist attack. Immediately, everyone back then was thinking, was it a freak accident? Did the plane, like some other out of control freak accident? But the point is, no one was suspecting other people.
If perhaps some type of navigating system or some type of electronics would have put 2 planes into the World Trade Center, if some type of navigating equipment is awry, that 2 commuter planes would run into the World Trade Centers at the same time.
nobody was pointing fingers, and how times have changed. If something like that, if another 9/11 was to happen today, immediately there'll be fingers pointing, this person done it, this group of people done it, these lot are responsible, this country's responsible. Everyone will be pointing fingers. And back then, it was completely different. The people back then, their mindsets, how they think, they weren't, their immediate reaction was not to point fingers. And that has literally done a complete 180. Think of in this whole 20-year period, how much the mindset of people has changed, how much more paranoid, how much more scared they are. They point fingers, they blame people like crazy. And all of that is a result of stuff like 9/11 that they're scared of, and that has changed them. So by doing something like 9/11, they've created this new mindset going forward to the people growing up and to the next generations and to just everyone going forward. They've now created this mindset of, they basically changed people, they've changed how we think. We are now so much less forgiving, we're so much more pointing fingers, where people are not like how they were back then. There's a huge noticeable change. You can tell just by the way they reacted back then versus how people would react now. And that isn't by accident. That is a direct result of things like 9/11. So we also have that. Now, to finally end this video, I want to play you a short clip by a company called the Free Thought Project. Now, the clip by them that I'm about to play, it's only about 1 minute long, and it will go over a few more key things that I might have missed about 9/11. But I'm going to leave you with that video. I'm going to get out of here. So peace from me, and enjoy the clip.
The whole building just collapsed inside the lobby.
Is that a secondary explosion?
Yes, it was.
That was definitely.
Yeah, definitely a secondary explosion.